Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Extreme Weather Video StormCast here live on YouTube. Great to have everyone here on the broadcast with us. Hope you guys are all doing well. We were on here just a couple days ago talking about the Iran-Iraq earthquake, so we're going to really kind of go a little bit more in-depth on that. We've gotten some new information on that, so we'll be talking about that. Also have an update on severe weather, or maybe will there not be severe weather. We'll be talking about that tonight as well, and kind of giving an update on our new winter storm system that's going to be moving in. It's starting to move into the Pacific Northwest. So we've got some rain and some snow showers in the forecast for parts of the northern country. But we're going to start tonight's discussion. We have Jessie with us. She was on with us recently as well. And we also have another one of our team members on this one. That is going to be our good friend Elena out in California. So hello, Elena. Welcome to the Stormcast. And I'm your host, Joey Pisani. So good to be back on here with everyone. So quick update for you. We're going to take you to Elena, and we're going to talk about this Iran-Iraq earthquake, because this has been major news here now the past couple of days. So, Elena, what are some of the latest numbers from the Iran-Iraq earthquake that you've heard from news media?
The last I heard, it was up to killing at least 530 people, and it's injured about 7,460 people.
Wow.
And they're still digging through the rubble.
Wow. I mean, that is unbelievable. Yeah, 530 people. Yeah, definitely a lot of recovery and work to go there. And I mean, Jesse, talk to us about the aftershocks, because this earthquake was felt, far, far away. I mean, how far away are we talking here with this earthquake?
Oh, there's been aftershocks that were felt all the way up as far as Dubai.
Wow. I mean, we're talking, hundreds of miles.
I think 600 miles.
Man, that is huge. I mean, and I think one reason that we saw such a wide-reaching impacts is because it was such a shallow earthquake. Also, it's a very mountainous region, as we were talking about the other day. And JJ, welcome to the broadcast. Also, good to have you on here with us. We're talking about the Iran-Iraq border earthquake that hit. It actually hit near Halabaj around 9 p.m. local time there in Iraq on Sunday. It was measured at 7.3. That's right along the border with Iran. And tremors were felt across the region. Interestingly enough, there were over 150 aftershocks in association with this earthquake. There were actually 8 earthquakes that hit on Monday. The main one was there near Habajah and a couple other places on the Iraqi side, and also over on the Iranian province of Kermanshah. In Iraq, tremors were felt at 7 a.m., 12 noon, and 6 p.m. The strongest tremor was a magnitude 4.8. In Iran, there were also tremors felt at 12 a.m., 3 a.m., 7 a.m., 11 a.m., and also 4 p.m. The strongest of those was a 4.9. So there were really 8 different earthquakes, 150 aftershocks following the initial earthquake. Death toll, as Elena was saying, 530 people killed and over 7,800 injured. So unbelievable.
Do we know the depth on that?
Depth of the earthquake was 14 kilometers, which is about just under 7 miles, like 6 or 7 miles.
That wasn't very deep at all.
Yeah, that's one reason it was a fairly shallow earthquake. Now you remember back in 2012, there were 2 earthquakes that hit northwest Iran, killing 200 people with more than 2,000 injured. And then back in 2005, there was a 6.4 earthquake that hit the same area, and that killed more than 600 people. So, I mean, there are earthquakes in this region because they are situated near a fault line. So, you know, there are earthquakes in this region. Emergency obviously has been declared emergency there in Iraq. Officials declared that on Monday. Residents have been told to sleep outside their homes as a precautionary measure. Also, Iraq's meteorology center advised people to stay away from buildings and elevators in case of further aftershocks. And just the sheer amount of people, they're saying that it's gonna take probably more than 70,000 shelters, at least some sort of temporary shelter, emergency shelter, is going to be needed to house the people that, you know, lost homes and businesses and things like that. Interestingly enough, though, even with this earthquake being out in Iraq and things like that, the oil pipelines and the refineries, those do remain intact and running. So we shouldn't really see, you know, a huge surge in gas prices here in the U.S. So that is good news.
So
So
think as if, you know, when we had the hurricanes come through, the gas prices went from being down here to way up here.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So I know they're already United Nations is already working on assist efforts in getting supplies sent over to them. You know, some of the countries like Turkey and some of the neighboring countries are working to bring in relief supplies headed for over there. So that is definitely good. In other news, though, we want to talk about, you know, we were talking about severe weather the other day, and we were looking at, you know, there was SPC had put out a risk area for some severe weather, and it kind of dropped off the board. So, I mean, let's kind of talk about that for a minute there. I mean, what's going on there with that? So, as you can see, Jesse got the SPC pulled up here. So there was a severe risk area for Friday. Now there's no area. As we can see, highlighted there at the bottom, it says no area. We do have that system moving into the northwest. If she goes to the hazards map, we'll actually see that there in the Pacific Northwest, we do have some winter storm warnings for parts of the Sierra Nevadas, not Sierra Nevadas, the Cascade regions up there in Washington. Could see some snow in some of those higher elevations. So we'll definitely have to keep an eye on that. But that system is the big question mark. Is it going to be strong enough? Timing differences between some of the models. Are we going to see severe weather this weekend across the Ohio Valley or not? That is yet to be determined. And JJ, what do you have pulled up there that we're looking at here? Okay, so this is your picture sideways there.
Yeah, I know. I put it sideways. I could go like
There you
that.
go. Yeah, that's good. Just leave it like that. Yep. So that there, yeah, there you go. So you got this is excellent graphic there that Jay just pulled up, showing where the different plate boundaries here meet there along the Iran-Iraq border. So you have the Arabian plate there on the south, you have the Eurasian plate, and pretty much where the earthquake happened, that's a transform boundary. And you also have some subduction zones there along that. So you have right there along that boundary there, that transform boundary where the plates are sliding past each other, is where we had that 7.3 earthquake and also getting that subduction there. Then you also have the Anatolian plate there that's moving off to the west there that you can see as well. So you have three major plate boundaries kind of all within that region there. So excellent graphic there showing how the Arabian plate and the Eurasian plate, the Arabian plate subducting, meaning it's going under the Eurasian plate there in the Middle East. So
You know, I didn't know that.
interesting.
I didn't know that this plate was so big that goes around all the way to Turkey, all the way to, through Israel, and it's a pretty big thing. I didn't
Yeah, the
realize how
Arabian
big
plate
it is.
there. Yep. And it's really interesting that this happened because
Yeah.
in my physical geography class, just like 2 weeks ago, I remember I was doing some study on earthquakes and plate tectonics and plate boundaries and things like that, and kind of the different types of boundaries. And that map there, you can see. So where you have that area that's circled there on that chart, with those arrows that are kind of sliding past each other. You have one arrow going left and one arrow going right. That is your transform boundary. Where do you have those triangles? People think, oh, that's a cold front. No, that's not a cold front. That is actually an area showing that we have a converging plate, a subduction zone, where one plate is sliding under another. Typically, you will get large mountainous regions, which we actually have over in the Iran side. You have very mountainous terrain due to that subduction zone there of the Arabian plate under the Eurasian plate, which causes those mountains to form as the crust, becomes magmatized, and then that magma flows towards the surface, and eventually you can get some volcanoes and mountains to form. So very interesting geology and geography here of this region. And as we mentioned earlier, this area is definitely prone to seeing some pretty major earthquakes. So thank you, Jay, for pulling up that graphic for us.
Not a problem.
So that's kind of the earthquake. We already talked about, severe weather, still kind of up in the air. Definitely stay with extreme weather videos to see if we're going to get any more potential for severe weather this weekend. Right now, it's seeming a bit iffy, so we'll really have to see what's going to happen. Another interesting thing that I saw today over on weather.com is that a rare, what is called a Mediterranean hurricane or a metacane, may form in the Mediterranean Sea later this week. So basically, it's like a tropical or subtropical system. Depends on exactly where it forms. It could kind of form an area of low pressure, and that would move eventually up towards Greece, bringing some strong gusty winds and some heavy storms. The last Mediterranean quote-unquote hurricane storm was actually last year around Halloween. So it's not all that often that you get these Mediterranean storms to form, but it will bring some showery weather to definitely portions of Greece and maybe up toward Turkey as well. So we'll definitely have to keep an eye on that, see if that develops, and what the European models, because right now the European models showing a little bit of cyclone there developing in the Mediterranean, Sea. So definitely keep an eye on that. But that's a little bit of an interesting weather fact for you this evening. And speaking of interesting weather facts, Jesse, I think, wanted to tell us an interesting weather fact. We actually posted this out on our Facebook page earlier about tornadoes. So Jesse, what was that weather fact for you for today's Tuesday?
You're gonna go make me look it up again, aren't you?
Why not?
That's just not fair. Wait a minute. What was that fact?
It's on the main Facebook page or on Twitter as well. I posted it on both.
I knew that.
About the 61,000 tornadoes. Hint, hint.
Yeah. Believe it or not, my computer's not going to let me pull it up.
Oh, I'll get it for you then. But I know you did post a nice picture of the downtown skyline of Cedar Rapids from tonight. That was beautiful. So
yes,
definitely check out our Twitter page to see that. That was fantastic. A beautiful, beautiful picture. But
when we do things, we don't do things small. We do things big.
Yeah. Interesting Tuesday tornado fact for you. Do you guys realize that there are just about 61,000, to be exact, 61,091 tornadoes recorded in the Storm Prediction Center's database spanning from 1950 to 2016. Excuse me. There's just kind of came at me. But yeah, 61,000 tornadoes from 1950 to 2016. That does not include, we won't know what it is until the end of this year, and we get a complete database update through 2017, but that is a lot of tornadoes. So definitely very interesting. So that is pretty much what we have going on here. We'll keep you guys updated on the winter weather across parts of the Pacific Northwest into the northern plains. Also, a good winter weather tip that I'll leave you guys with. Heavy wet snow can put a really big strain on the heart. So when you're shoveling heavy and wet snow, make sure you stay hydrated, take frequent breaks. Only move small amounts with each shovel pass, because when you are shoveling snow, take it slow. So if you have snow where you're at, definitely send us your pictures. Use the hashtag EWVLive. Send those into us. We would love to see them. And thanks for joining us on this StormCast. Great to be back with you all. Feel free to give our YouTube channel here a subscription. Leave a comment in the video below. Maybe there's a weather topic you want us to talk about. We'd be glad to do that. Thank you, Elena, JJ, and Jesse, for joining us this week on StormCast. And we will see you guys again soon. Have a great evening, everyone.